On the news, Senate moves to curb gas explosions across the country. Akeredolu pays thank you visit to President Buhari. And federal government to ban milk and fish importation by 2022. Thank you for joining us on News Now. At this time, I am Folashade Ogurinde. The Nigerian Senate has given a 2-week timeline to its Committee on Petroleum, Downstream and Gas Resources to investigate the remote and immediate causes of series of gas explosions in parts of the country with a view to addressing the challenge. This forms part of the key resolutions reached during plenary on Wednesday. Atinuke completes the story.
The position by Senate on the wave of gas explosions across the country is sequel to a motion by Lagos West Senator Solomon Adeola Olamilekan, who expressed concerns on the steady rise in the incidence of gas explosions, particularly in Lagos and other neighboring states. Also, Osun East Senator Francis Fadaunsi made a case for prompt intervention for his state.
On October 10, 2020, a similar gas explosion occurred at Kandos Road, Barua Ipaja Yobo, Alimosho local government area, when an LPG tanker in the process of discharging gas at a gas plant exploded from the spark of a running power generator in the plant. Regret that in the second tragic incident, 18 lives, including a father and a child, were lost with cause of sustaining injuries, while 25 houses and 16 locked-up shops filled with goods worth millions of naira were burnt into ashes. Aware that the Tankers Owners Association of Nigeria estimates that over 80% of all articulate vehicles, as the ones involved in the incident, lack safety protocol requisites to their operation and plying of public roads.
Mr. President, the accident occurred as a result of collision between two trucks, and it is spread to the whole village around there and claims a lot of lives. Every day along that route, there is always petroleum tankers explosion that claim a lot of life. And a lot of bodies are already lying in the mortuary.
Regulatory and licensing authorities like the Department of Petroleum Resources, DPR, State Town Planning Authority, the Fire Service and Federal Road Safety Corps to review the modus operandi, safety procedures and licensing regimes of this potentially combustible business and mode of transportation of gas in Nigeria. Those in favor of this prayer say aye. Those against saying it, ayes have it.
The Senate is considering a legislative intervention that will regulate the licensing regimes of the business of sale of gas and mode of transportation of the product in the country. From Abuja, Atinuke Nuki, TV360 News.
The House of Representatives has commenced debate on the proposed 2021 budget. President Muhammadu Buhari had presented a 13.08 trillion naira budget last Thursday before a joint session of the National Assembly. Our correspondent Atinuke Nuke has more on the story.
The plenary session on Tuesday started with the House Speaker, Femi Gbajabiamila, urging members to keep faith with the resolution of Legislative Forum on the now disbanded Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SARS. This is coming on the heels of the ongoing nationwide EndSARS protest. Before the continuation of proceedings, the Speaker announced the defection of Honorable Kolawole Lawal from the Allied People's Party, APM, to the ruling party, All Progressive Congress, APC. The defected lawmaker represents Egbado South, Okia Federal Constituency of Ogun State.
I have an announcement that pleases me, and I believe will please all of you. APC, PDP, no matter what party you are, I believe this announcement will please you. It's from Honorable Kolawole Lawal, change of party. I bring you greetings from my family and my humble self. And this is to inform and intimate you of my plan to officially move to the All Progressive Congress, APC.
Matters thereafter shifted attention to the budget, with Leader of the House, Honorable Al-Hassan Dugua, calling for deliberations on the proposed 2021 budget.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to, on this note, remind honorable members that while we had a lot of challenges in the course of the implementation of the 2020 budget, as it were, most especially when we faced a lot of issues, challenges to do with the implementability of the budget, issues to do with economic challenges also globally, the pandemic we experienced, which is still ravaging the globe. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I stand before you out of respect to tell you that despite those challenges, the government was able to perform approximately 50 to 60% in all capital provisions of the budget 2020.
If we reduce cost of governance, we are likely to also free cash for capital projects. And that if we free cash for capital projects, that means that the economy will rejig.
We are allowing, as custodians of the law, the contravention of the provisions of the laws enacted by this House. And those provisions were made based on sound financial considerations to ensure and enshrine fiscal discipline in the administration of the revenue and expenditure of our country. But it appears as if the executive does not respect this provision, and ordinarily I believe this budget should be withdrawn and the provisions of the Act should be adhered to.
From Abuja, Atinuke Nuki, TV360 News.
The Federal Executive Council on Wednesday considered a memo for the supply, deployment and installation of security equipment in some railway stations in Nigeria. Minister of Transportation Rotimi Amechi disclosed this to journalists after the Council's meeting on Wednesday. The Council also considered memo for the approval of the construction of the Apapa-Oworoshoki-Ojota Expressway, which was awarded to Dangote Group under the Public-Private Partnership PPP initiative.
We presented a memo for the supply, deployment, installation, testing and commissioning of security equipment for the 7 railway stations across the Federation, namely Idu, Rigasa, Jere, Kubwa, Kaduna and Kano, in favor of Messrs. Advonics Services Nigeria Limited in the sum of 1,208,325,464 naira 60 kobo, inclusive of 7.5% tax, with a completion period of 12 months.
A memo which was approved in Council today for the award of a contract for the reconstruction of the Apapa-Oworoshoki-Ojota Expressway Section 2, which is Beachland Interchange, with an 8.1 kilometer stretch. Construction of the Oworoshoki, project coming to an end, it now makes better sense to include that section which was fairly good, so that when the other section is still strong, it does not it doesn't start withering. So this contract was awarded today for the sum of 22,247,000,000 naira 332,000. But please, you must know that this is one of the projects that's been awarded under the Infrastructure Tax Credit Scheme. In other words, it is awarded to Dangote, and Dangote is going to construct it, and over the years it will be deducted from tax payable by the group.
Ondo State Governor Rotimi Akeredolu has visited President Muhammadu Buhari at the presidential villa Abuja after securing a second-term victory in the recent concluded governorship poll. Akeredolu was accompanied by the governor of Yobe State and chairman of All Progressives Congress Caretaker Committee, Mai Malabuni. While addressing State House journalists after the meeting, Akeredolu called on his current deputy, Agbola Ajayi, to be honorable and resign position. Ajayi had earlier defected from the ruling All Progressives Congress to the Zenith Labour Party to contest the governorship election.
We are here to congratulate and thank Mr. President, of our victory in Ondo State. You can see the support, the prayers, all the encouragement from Mr. President, which made it possible for us, and with the good people of Ondo State's determination to ensure that Ondo State did not start afresh. They voted for continuity and consolidation of the good work His Excellency the Governor is doing, and that's why we are here.
The Chairman present our certificates of return to Mr. President, and this we have done, and the Deputy Governor designate, Mr. Lucky Urimison Ayedatiwa, who is here, and I have expressed our appreciation to Mr. President for his support. All of us, we went to a battle, united, and it is clear to us that when we are united, no force can move us. APC is a very strong force. We are a strong party in this country. So we are going to prove in Ondo that Ondo is not Edo. If they were dreaming, now they are awake now. They are now waking from their slumber.
The hashtag EndSARS protests rocking different states of the country continued in Abuja on Wednesday with clashes between pro and anti-EndSARS protesters. This led to the vandalization of cars with many people injured in the fracas. One of the frontline protesters to EndSARS indicator joins us via Skype from Abuja. Now tell us what is happening in Abuja. Why are people still protesting after SARS has been banned?
Okay, I want to correct the notion that I'm a frontline protester. Everybody is an equal protester here. There are no leaders. I just happen to be quite articulate, and I guess that is why I get interviewed. I think other people are too. And I think the media is used to me. But please, please denounce the notion that there are people who are leading this and others following. We're all on equal grounds in this protest. This afternoon, towards evening, the protest was attacked by hoodlums who were carrying big sticks. They came, broke the windscreens and, of cars belonging to protesters, and not just protesters, because they could not differentiate. It was any car they saw in the back on the beggar roundabout that they broke. Some of them in the fracas ended up getting injured. Protesters helped them get to the hospital. But this is very dangerous and speaks to some of the key issues in this country. That look, this country and the people in power tend to weaponize poverty so that they keep people in a position where they can continually be used as tools. Today, they caused a lot of trouble at beggar roundabout. Protests have been largely peaceful, unless interrupted by armed policemen, armed soldiers, or thugs. And protesters have continued to say, look, we're a generation of young, responsible people. In a country that has been killing us in the name of we are irresponsible, I think we've proven that, look, this is a different generation, and we indeed are different from the crop, because everything has been thrown at young people, and young people have not been violent.
Now, we understand that there was a clash in Abuja today between pro and anti-SARS protesters. Now, can you tell us what exactly happened?
I think that the media plays a role in these languages. And in these issues, you are a reporter, you know semantics. When people go to villages in southern Kaduna, in parts of the north, and attack and people die, you people report it as clash. On the altar of clash, many Nigerians have died. We've actually killed the narrative of what is actually happening in those places and called the clashes. And here we are again. A group of young protesters have been peaceful every single day. The protest was attacked. People who attacked these protesters were videoed as they came to attack the protesters. Not only did they attack protesters, they attacked any other vehicle around the beggar roundabout axis, not just protesters. How is this a clash?
Okay. All right, thank you very much, Indicato, for bringing us up to speed on what exactly happened in Abuja. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
The Nigerian military has arrested Kamo Fachi, the commander of the late dreaded Bain Ray bandits, Tuase Akwaza, popularly known as Ghana. Fachi was arrested by the men of the 4 Special Forces Command, Doma local government area of Nasarawa at Castina, Ala, where he was said to be hiding at his girlfriend's residence. Parading the suspect, the commander of 4 Special Forces Command, Doma Ali Gadzama, assured that the military will continue to be on the trail of other gang members until they are all arrested. It said that Fachi is the 76th member of the gang apprehended by the military. Let's take a break here, but still to come, Polytechnic lecturers say they can't meet COVID-19 protocols for resumption. Glad to have you back. Here is a quick reminder of some of our top stories tonight. The Senate has directed its committees on petroleum, downstream and gas resources to investigate the recent gas explosions in Lagos State. The Senate took the decision following a point of order moved by the lawmaker representing Lagos West Senatorial District, Solomon Adiola. On the issue, both panels are to probe the remote and immediate causes of the explosions and report to the Senate in 2 weeks. The Federal Executive Council on Wednesday considered a memo for the supply, deployment and installation of security equipment in some railway stations in Nigeria. The Council also considered memo for the approval of the construction of the Apapa-Owoshoki-Ojota Expressway, which was awarded to Dangote Group under the Public-Private Partnership PPP. Let's now turn our attention to the COVID-19 pandemic. Nigeria has recorded 225 new COVID-19 cases, bringing the total infections in the country to 60,655. A single death was reported in the last 24 hours, taking the total number of deaths from the virus to 1,116. Out of the over 60,000 infections so far, 52,006 persons have been recovered and have been discharged. The Academic Staff Union of Polytechnics, ASUB, says it is not ready for resumption, considering the level of readiness post-COVID-19. At a meeting with the leadership of the Federal Ministry of Education in Abuja, ASUB President Anderson Ezeebe reeled out a list of grievances which he says must be addressed urgently before any form of industrial action.
These institutions should have been supported, at least in this respect. Should have been supported to put, even if it is the basics in place, even if it means, upgrade of the clinics, which is the first line of intervention in the case of an outbreak in the institutions. But we are yet to see this. Talking about safety of the entire Polytechnic community, staff, students, including the host communities. And we think that it is not yet late for the government through the PTF to come to the rescue of these institutions to ensure that truly the resumption is on a safety mode.
This is the time to appeal to the communities in where these places are located to come together and assist those schools to provide the kind of facility they need to reopen. Where government is not readily available to do that. Let's just first of all return our classes, return our students to school, and in the course of that, all other things, let us first seek the kingdom of reopening, and then all other things will be added onto it.
Let's take a break here and now join Oyin for the latest in business. Welcome back. Let's now join you for the latest in business.
Thank you very much, Folashade. The federal government has questioned the rationale behind the importation of milk and fish and has resolved to ban such imports by 2022. At a press briefing ahead of the 2020 World Food Day celebration, Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development Sabo Nanono said Nigeria, with a livestock asset of 33 trillion naira and about 25 million cows, would question the rationale as to why Nigeria will continue to import 1.8 billion litres of milk annually. He says Nigeria remains committed towards poverty eradication and the transformation of food production systems to ensure sustainable food security for its citizenry.
In the next 2 years, we will ban the importation of milk into this country. Because, and ask me why, we have 25 million cows in this country. We consume 5 million litres per day. If you keep 5 million cows to give you 1 litre, you are home and dry. The issue is now logistics, which we have started by setting up milk processing plants across the country. And luckily enough, the private sector is also taking up this challenge. And I see no reason why we should import milk in the next 2 years. In the next 2 years, we should stop importation of milk. The same thing with the fish. We have a lot of fish resources in this country. But people still are importing this frozen fish. You don't know how long it even lasted. And feeding our children with it. While we have fresh fish in that, we have all the facilities. God has given us all the facilities to produce fish in this country. But we are so overwhelmed into importation. Our psyche has gone into eating what is produced outside, not what is produced in this country. Why? Because we are not patriotic or what?
Well, let's take a pause here and return with Stock Market Review. Don't go away. The Nigerian stock market closed the day's trading flat after recording minimal gains of 0.02% in previous session. Market cap today rose by around 1 billion naira, while market breadth closed with 14 gainers versus 11 losers. The gainers today were led by Guinness, of course, which gained 50 kobo in the value of its share price, followed by Guarantee Trust Bank, rising by 45 kobo. Etana PLC and WAPCO completed the list of four with a combined 75 kobo increase in their respective share prices. But conversely, Stanbic IBTC led the pack of 11 losers, shedding 1 naira and 50 kobo. Adova, eTransact and FCMB also could not keep their heads above water in the day's training. But in summary, we see that level of activity on the nation's bourse saw a huge decline today from about over 500 million units of shares traded in previous session. We see that dropped to 218.4 million units, and the value of that was 3.1 billion naira, of course, which exchanged hands in 3,896 deals. We're moving on now to see how foreign stocks fared. We see that in the UK and in the US, stocks are falling. FTSE Dow Jones in the reds, while Nikkei managed, of course, to keep its head above water today, rising by 0.11% in its all-share index. And that's it on business now. It's back to you now, Folashade.
Thank you, Oyi. 2 helicopters belonging to Afghanistan's defense ministry have crashed in the southern province of Helmand due to technical issues, killing 9 people aboard. The military confirmed that 2 Soviet-era Mi-17 helicopters crashed overnight while taking off in our district. All those killed were said to be Afghan crew and soldiers who had been on board the helicopter. Authorities said the aircraft collided with when they evacuated wounded soldiers after deploying Afghan special forces to repel a Taliban attack in the area. And in sports, reactions have trailed the Super Eagles international friendlies against the Desert Foxes of Algeria and the Tunisian national team known as the Eagles Carthage. The Super Eagles of Nigeria lost to Algeria and the first of the 2 international friendlies, which took place on Friday, while they played a draw with Tunisia. Jonathan Akpobere, a former Super Eagles forward, said the performance fell below expectation.
I wanted to see if there was any element of improvement from the last games that I've seen the Super Eagles play. But unfortunately, it was even worse. Maybe because, like I said, they had new players. But even so, if you have new players, you would see an arrangement that would be there, a ground arrangement, where you would see the Super Eagles playing organized football. I did not see that in both games. It is becoming annoying when people start saying the coach is actually rebuilding. We could not put 3-4 passes together in midfield. The build-up play from the back was almost zero in both games. So if you look at both games like that and you say, okay, we are just rebuilding. What have the boys been doing in Europe? They've been playing for their teams. When they play for their teams, they play really well. But when they play really well and they come back to the Super Eagles and we cannot get them to do what they do for their club, then there might be a problem.
And that's it in our package of news now. Thank you for watching. I am Fola Shadi Ogrinde.